In the capital city Delhi, a murder mystery case left the country puzzled and shocked. One of the scariest murder cases in the history of India, a brutal serial killer who didn't just kill, he butchered his victims, wrapped the body pieces in newspaper and clothes, tied them tightly in a basket, and then he dropped the body at the gates of India's largest prison, Tihar Jail. A vegetable seller, accused of killing 6 people, wasn't just a murderer, but a person openly challenging the system with each murder. It was like a game of catch me if you can he played with the Delhi police. But what drove him to kill, and why was he so proud of his actions? This is the story of the Butcher of Delhi, a man who gave sleepless nights to even the top investigators and Delhi police. The story began on the morning of October 20th, 2006, at around 6:30 a.m. when an unknown caller dialed Tihar Jail. Assistant Commissioner Sundar Singh Yadav and duty officer Balkishan were on duty when the call came in. The anonymous caller informed Delhi police that he had left a dead body at gate number 3 of Tihar Jail. The duty officer couldn't dismiss the call as a prank, especially when the caller mentioned that the officers on duty at gate number 3 are doing nothing and haven't noticed his gift yet. A head constable was dispatched to the scene and found a tightly packed basket that looked like a fruit basket. Inside it was a headless body, initially covered with newspapers, then wrapped in clothes, and finally in a plastic sheet to prevent coming out from the body. The headless body wasn't the only thing officers found, but also a letter full of abuses towards Delhi police and the judicial system. The letter challenged the system, daring them to catch the killer in the murder case if they can. He even undersigned the letter by initials CC. But one might wonder, why specifically the killer chose gate number 3 of Tihar Jail? Well, he himself, in a following call to the Delhi police, revealed that the head constable Balbir, posted at gate number 3 of Tihar, had tortured him during a past imprisonment, and he was now seeking revenge. A psychopathic killer with a strong sense of pride in his work, his behavior was far from natural. Now, the challenge for the Delhi police was to identify and capture him, as well as secure evidence. As the investigation began, the first step was to trace the calls the police received on October 20th. The call was done from an STD booth in Tilak Nagar, Delhi. Upon inquiry at the public telephone booth, a man named Ram Babu Chaurasia, who was present there, informed the investigators that only one call had used the phone that day. He even assisted the Delhi police in preparing a sketch of the suspect in search. Further scrutiny of the letter revealed that the writer is likely of Bihari origin. Even more shocking was the mention of a murder in the past committed in the same manner 3 years earlier, in 2003. Upon verification, it was discovered that a headless body had indeed been found at gate number 1 of Tihar Jail in 2003. However, the case had been closed due to a lack of identification of the victim or any evidence leading to the suspect. It remained unsolved. April 25, 2007, the phone at the police station once again rang, and the same calm yet chilling voice had a familiar message for the Delhi police. Another dead body had been left at gate 3 of Tihar prison. The body was placed exactly where the last one had been, not even a meter off. It was tied in the exact same manner, only more tightly. The officers struggled to untie it but couldn't. After their multiple failed attempts, a man from the crowd offered to help, using a knife to cut the bindings. What's dramatic is that the person offering his help was none other than the criminal himself. Once again, a body headless, but this time had its hands, legs, and even genitals also chopped off and scattered at multiple locations near Hazari Court in Delhi. It was pretty clear by now that the murders were happening at one location and then the body parts were being scattered around Delhi. Because there were no heads of the victims, the Delhi police were clueless. They didn't know where the murders were happening or who the victims were. But they figured out one thing for sure: they might be dealing with a serial killer. A special team was put together to catch this psychopathic serial killer, who seemed to be proud of his horrible work. On May 18, 2007, as the investigations continued, another headless body was discovered outside gate number 3 of Tihar Jail, this time again with a letter. The letter, written in the same abusive language, mentioned the previous 2 bodies. The killer also demanded that the Delhi police offer a reward for his capture, as he took great pride in his actions. He also called it a game with the Delhi police, wanting to make it more exciting. Even the most experienced senior investigators had never encountered anything like this in decades of their service. The killer was someone who seemed to know the system well and was challenging it with pride. The letters received with the first and the third body were sent to experts. They discovered that the style, tone, and handwriting in both matched very well and were both undersigned by the name CC. By this time, the case had also caught the attention of the media, which reported it as the Butcher of Delhi. The city was terrified, but the police still had no leads. What was even more terrifying was the possibility that this man was indeed a serial killer, with more bodies possibly on their way to gate number 3 of Tihar prison. The tension of this case was mounting on the Delhi police. The investigation led to the reopening of a similar case from 1998, when a headless body was found outside Tihar prison, with other body parts scattered throughout Delhi. In the 1998 case, a suspect was arrested, but within 3 months, the case was closed due to lack of evidence. The Delhi Police Special Cell began sharing sketches of the suspect with its network of unofficial spies in Delhi, individuals who kept themselves hidden and assisted the police with information and leads. Delhi police found its first lead when they discovered that someone in Azadpur Mandi, with the same appearance as the suspect, was seen regularly visiting a doctor's clinic. Around 2 p.m. on May 19th, the Delhi police team, led by Narendra Pahelwan, arrived at the doctor's clinic. As the team started questioning the doctor, the clinic's phone rang, and guess what? The caller was none other than the killer himself. Upon further questioning of the doctor, details about the suspect were revealed. A man with 5 daughters, all born in the clinic of that doctor. The man's name was Chandrakant Jha. Now armed with information about the suspect, all that was left was for the Delhi police to capture this serial killer. Chandrakant was supposed to visit the doctor's clinic, so Delhi officers disguised themselves as civilians and vendors, all set to capture the killer. But it was past the appointment time, and Chandrakant was nowhere to be found. The Delhi police decided to arrest Chandrakant from his source. They began their investigation in the field, searching for Chandrakant's whereabouts. Just when they decided to question the doctor's brother-in-law, who had known Chandrakant for a while, the doctor also revealed that Chandrakant had once tried to kill his brother-in-law after an argument with him. From him, the officials learned that Chandrakant had a motor cart, which he used to sell vegetables and commute often. This small piece of information helped the Delhi police find Chandrakant's location and arrest one of the most dangerous serial killers in Delhi's history. This is serial killer Chandrakant Jha. Fear spread among the people of Delhi in the years 2006 and 2007, when headless bodies were found one after the other outside the Tihar Jail. The murderer was constantly giving threats to the Delhi police over phone calls, and these calls turned out to be Chandrakant's biggest mistake, which led to his arrest. Now that Chandrakant Jha was in the custody of the Delhi police, the question was who he was, where he came from, and what led him to murder so many people. In the interrogation room, Chandrakant looked as calm as a monk, with no fear on his face. As the questions began, Chandrakant started with his name. He had been living in Delhi with his 5 daughters and had migrated from the state of Bihar in search of work. When he first moved to Delhi, he began working as a vegetable vendor, like many other migrants. His job was to load and unload sacks of vegetables from trucks. Everything was smooth in Chandrakant's life, until one night when he stood up against a local gangster who was beating up a fellow migrant. While saving the man, Chandrakant himself was nearly killed. This event changed Chandrakant's whole mindset. After somehow recovering, he learned martial arts and vowed to take revenge on anyone who ever tried to exert power over him again. Chandrakant had always had a violent history, even with the union leader at his workplace. During interrogation, Chandrakant recounts a fight with the union leader, who used to charge a certain amount from all laborers as commission, which was unacceptable to Chandrakant. The fight escalated and led to Chandrakant's arrest. Not only him, but his wife was also arrested, despite having nothing to do with the case. Chandrakant's anger with the system began here when he was treated very badly in prison, beaten up, and sometimes even stripped naked. After being released on bail following the fight with the union leader, Chandrakant's first target was Pandit himself, the union leader at his workplace. He confessed that the body found outside Tihar Jail in the 1998 case was that of Pandit. Chandrakant also confessed to 2 murders in 2003 of 2 individuals named Shekhar and Umesh, and the most recent ones in 2006 and 2007, when he directly challenged the Delhi police system. Investigators had their answers, but lacked evidence. But a follow-up confession by Chandrakant answered one of the biggest mysteries of the case: the whereabouts of the heads of the bodies. What had Chandrakant done with them? Chandrakant revealed to the police that he used to chop off the heads of his victims and put them into the Yamuna River. He believed that by killing them, he was punishing all the wrongdoers, and to wash away their sins, he would drop their heads into the Yamuna River. He would then throw the rest of the bodies at Tihar Gate number 3, only if police officer Balbir, who had wronged him while he was in prison, was on duty. Chandrakant claimed that he punished people based on their actions and for their own good. According to him, he would give people 2 chances to get their act straight, and if they didn't, he would befriend his victims, invite them over for a meal at his place, and then kill them as punishment. Before migrating to Delhi, Chandrakant Jha used to live in Gosai village. Even there, Chandrakant was known for his violent behavior. Lying, eating non-veg, and getting drunk at his place were a few things that triggered Chandrakant and his anger. During the search and investigation, one incident stood out from the survivors of Chandrakant's hands. Bidu Jadhav, who was from Chandrakant's village, recalled being trapped in his game. He recounted that Chandrakant had asked him to help move his belongings from his place in Mangalpuri to his new home. Bidu Jadhav recalled that when he reached Chandrakant's place, he was shocked to find 3 people helplessly tied up and in a bad state. One of them was Murali Shah, his neighbor from the village. Bidu Jadhav soon learned about Chandrakant's intentions, but managed to escape and help the others escape too. Murali Shah, one of the survivors, made a courageous move to take a camera with him that Chandrakant used to photograph his victims before killing them. The photos later revealed to the world how cruel a seemingly ordinary person can be. Chandrakant's childhood, his mother's negligence towards him, and the incidents he faced upon arriving in Delhi made him question the importance of holding power by any means possible. Chandrakant, who was charged with 6 murders, had enough evidence to be proven guilty in only 3 cases. In 2013, he was convicted and given death sentences in 2 cases, but after an appeal, the death sentences were reduced to life imprisonment. The story of Chandrakant Jha leaves us with a question: how much importance do we, as a society, give to the mental health of migrant laborers? Could timely help have saved the victims from such brutal deaths?